The elevator that didn't exist. Markus moved into Building 18 on a cold November evening, the kind of evening where the air already feels like winter is waiting just around the corner. The building itself looked normal enough. Gray concrete, narrow balconies, identical windows, stacked like boxes. The only strange thing was the elevator rules taped beside the call button. They were printed on cheap paper, slightly wrinkled, as if someone had replaced them many times. Elevator rules. 1. Do not use the elevator between 2 to 3 a.m. 2. If it stops at a floor that is not yours, do not exit. 3. If you see someone inside already, check their reflection. 4. If the panel shows a negative floor number, exit immediately. 5. If Rule 4 is impossible, pray the doors open again. Markus read them twice and smirked. Someone has too much time. An old woman standing near the mailboxes spoke without looking at him. They aren't a joke. Markus gave a polite smile people give when they want a conversation to end. Right. She finally looked at him. Her face was serious. Everyone thinks that at first. Markus ignored her and pressed the elevator button. For 2 weeks, nothing happened. The elevator worked like any normal elevator. It creaked, the light buzzed. Sometimes it took longer to arrive. Markus worked late in IT support and often came home after midnight. Routine formed. Work, elevator, apartment, sleep. Until one night, routine broke. Tuesday, 2:11 a.m. Markus entered the empty lobby, shoulders heavy with exhaustion. He pressed the elevator button. It arrived instantly. That was unusual. This elevator was slow, always slow. The doors opened as if they had been waiting. The inside light flickered once. Markus stepped inside. Pressed 8. Doors closed. The elevator began moving. 5 seconds later, Markus noticed something wrong. The movement felt heavy, not upward, downward. He looked at the display. 3, 2, 1. Markus frowned. No. The button for 8 was still glowing. The elevator jerked softly, then the display changed. 1. His mouth went dry. He suddenly remembered the paper rules. If the panel shows a negative floor number, exit immediately. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. There was no hallway, just darkness, not the normal absence of light. This looked thick, like smoke that refused to move. The elevator light stretched into it only a few centimeters before being swallowed. Markus did not move. His instinct screamed at him to stay inside. Then he heard breathing, slow, wet, not his. Something shifted in the darkness, a shape almost forming, then disappearing. Then a voice, very soft, very close. You came early? Markus slammed the close door button. Nothing happened. He pressed it again. Again. The button felt soft, like pressing skin instead of plastic. He looked down. For a second he thought the buttons were slightly warm. Then the doors suddenly closed by themselves. The elevator began moving again, up this time. Markus let out a shaky breath. Just a malfunction. The display climbed. 0, 1, 2, 3. At floor 5, the elevator stopped again. Markus hadn't pressed anything. The doors opened. A man stood outside, tall, thin, wearing what looked like an old security uniform. His face looked normal, almost too normal. Going up? The man asked. Markus hesitated, then nodded. The man stepped in. The doors closed. Markus remembered Rule 3. If you see someone inside already, check their reflection. Slowly, Markus looked toward the mirrored wall. He saw himself, pale, tired. Then he saw the man, except something was wrong. The man's reflection was smiling. The real man was not. Markus felt ice crawl down his spine. In the mirror, the reflection slowly turned its head toward Markus. The real man kept staring forward. Then the reflection raised one finger to its lips. Shh! Markus stopped breathing. The elevator continued rising. 6, 7. At floor 7, the man stepped out. Before leaving, he turned to Markus and said quietly, "You should have taken the stairs." The doors closed. Markus looked back at the mirror. His own reflection was a second too slow to copy him. He moved his hand. It copied, but slightly delayed, like bad internet lag. When the elevator reached floor 8, Markus rushed out. He didn't look back. That night, he locked his door. At 2:46 a.m., he heard the elevator moving back and forth, up, down, too often, too fast. Around 3 a.m. it stopped. Then he heard something else. Ding, the arrival sound, from his floor. Then 3 slow knocks on his apartment door. Markus did not move. The knocks came again. Then a voice through the wood, his own voice. "Markus, open the door. You forgot something downstairs." Markus covered his mouth to stop himself from breathing loudly. The handle slowly moved, very slowly, then stopped. Footsteps left. Next morning, he checked the hallway camera recording posted in the tenant app. At 2:47 a.m., the elevator opened. Markus stepped out. Markus walked to his own door. Markus knocked. Markus stood there smiling for 2 full minutes. Then Markus walked back into the elevator. But real Markus had never left his apartment. After that night, he started using the stairs. Everyone eventually does. But sometimes at night, when the building is silent, residents still hear the elevator arrive at floors nobody requested. Sometimes it opens, sometimes it waits. And sometimes, if someone is unlucky enough to be awake and looking at their door at exactly 2:17 a.m., they might hear 3 slow knocks, and their own voice on the other side saying, "This time you have to come with me." The elevator that waits. Nobody noticed when the extra button first appeared. Or maybe they did notice and simply chose not to talk about it. Building 18 was that kind of place. People avoided eye contact. Neighbors didn't ask questions. If something strange happened, it became part of the background like the hum of old pipes or the flicker of dying hallway lights. Markus had lived there only 3 weeks when he first saw it. At first he thought it was a trick of exhaustion. He worked late fixing server failures and software crashes, his sleep schedule destroyed by rotating shifts. At 2:23 a.m., everything looks slightly unreal anyway. But he was sure of one thing. When he moved in, the elevator only had buttons from 0 to 12. Now there was another one, small, unlabeled, matte black, not backlit like the others, just sitting beneath 0 like a missing tooth. He touched it once. It was colder than the other buttons. Not metal cold. Outside in winter cold. He pulled his finger back immediately. Probably maintenance, he muttered to himself. But maintenance buttons usually have labels, or covers, or keys. This one looked grown, like it belonged there, like it had always been there, and he had only just earned the right to see it. He didn't press it, not that day, not the next day, but he started noticing other things. The elevator sometimes arrived already occupied, not by people, by warmth, like someone had just left. Sometimes a faint smell like wet concrete filled the cabin. Sometimes fingerprints appeared on the mirror that nobody admitted making. Then came the sounds. Soft tapping inside the walls while the elevator moved, too irregular to be mechanical. 3 taps, pause. 2 taps, pause. 3 taps again, like something practicing a pattern. Markus started taking the stairs at night. Most residents did. If you live there long enough, you notice nobody used the elevator between 2 and 3 a.m. Not because of a rule, because of experience. One Thursday, he asked his neighbor Elias why. Elias just said, "Because it learns your floor." Markus laughed. Elias didn't. "What does that mean?" Markus asked. Elias shrugged. "It learns where you feel safe." "That makes no sense." "Exactly." A week later, Elias moved out without telling anyone. His mailbox remained full. His name stayed on the door. But he was gone. The landlord said relocation. Nobody believed him. Then came the night Markus pressed the wrong button. He swore later he only pressed 8. He would swear it to police, to priests, to anyone. But security footage would later show his finger hovering, hesitating, then pressing the black button. The doors closed immediately, faster than normal. The usual motor noise didn't start. Instead, there was silence, then a very soft downward motion. No vibration, no cable noise, like falling inside thick water. The display didn't show numbers, it showed a dash, then another dash, then slowly. 1. Markus began pressing every button. Door open, alarm, floor 7, floor 3. Nothing responded. The alarm button made no sound, like it wasn't connected anymore. The air felt heavier. The light dimmed slightly, though it did not flicker. Then he noticed the mirror was wrong. Elevators always make spaces feel larger because of mirrors. This one now made the space look deeper, like the reflection showed a version of the cabin that extended further back than physically possible. Markus leaned closer. His reflection leaned closer too, then kept leaning after he stopped, just a few centimeters more. His reflection smiled slightly. Markus did not. He stumbled backward. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. There was a corridor. But not his building's corridor. The carpet was dark and wet-looking. The walls were too long. The ceiling lights stretched into distance like a tunnel. Every apartment door stood slightly open, just enough to show darkness inside. A voice from one doorway whispered, "Wrong stop." Another voice from another door, "Too early." Another from further down, "Stay this time." Markus hit the close button repeatedly. The doors closed halfway, then stopped. Something pressed from the outside, not a hand. Something wide. The gap filled with darkness, thicker than shadow. Then dozens of fingerprints appeared slowly on the closing doors from the outside, pushing inward. Markus screamed and kicked the door sensor. Suddenly, they shut completely. The elevator shot upward violently. This time, the cables screamed. The numbers flew upward too fast. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12. It stopped hard. The doors opened to his real floor. He ran. For 3 days, nothing happened. Then he started dreaming of the elevator, every dream the same. He would enter. There would be more buttons. 2, 3, 4, and one labeled with his apartment number, 8. In the dream, he would press it. The elevator would answer with a voice already there. Then he would wake up at exactly 2:17 a.m. Always. One night he woke and heard the elevator arrive. Ding, then again, ding, then again, as if someone was calling it repeatedly. He checked the tenant app cameras again. At 2:16 a.m., the elevator opened on every floor. No one entered. At 2:17 a.m., it opened on his floor. The camera glitched for 4 seconds. When the image returned, there was someone standing at his door. Same height, same hair, same clothes. Markus, watching Markus. Camera timestamp showed the hallway empty. At the same time, Markus was inside watching the recording. That was the night he understood something terrible. The elevator wasn't taking people somewhere. It was bringing something back. And sometimes It brought back you. A few days later, the black button had a label. Markus saw it clearly. White letters, slightly scratched. Markus. He moved out the next morning, but before leaving, he checked once more. The button was gone. In its place was another name. Someone else had moved into apartment 8. And that night, at 2:23 a.m., the elevator arrived instantly when they pressed the call button. The elevator that memorizes you. The first strange thing about Building 18 was not the elevator. It was how nobody talked in the elevator. In most apartment buildings, people at least nod, maybe check their phones, maybe exchange the awkward half-smile of strangers forced into a small metal box. Not here. Here, when two people entered together, they stood as far apart as possible and stared at the floor numbers like prisoners watching a countdown. Markus noticed this during his first week, but assumed it was just German coldness mixed with city life. Then he noticed something else. Nobody ever pressed their button immediately. They would enter, wait, then press it at the last second before the doors closed, like they were making sure the elevator didn't choose for them. Markus thought that was odd, but not frightening. Not yet. The frightening part came later when he realized sometimes nobody pressed anything at all, and the elevator still moved. It started with small details, things easy to ignore. The way the elevator sometimes arrived already on his floor even when nobody had called it. The way the doors occasionally opened a few centimeters, then closed again like something had changed its mind. The way the mirror sometimes seemed slightly foggy, even though nobody had breathed on it. Then came the first real incident. It was 2:14 a.m. Markus remembered the time because later he would start documenting everything, writing times, sounds, movements, like evidence would somehow make it logical. He entered the elevator alone, pressed 8. The doors closed. Halfway up, the elevator stopped at 4. Nobody had pressed it. The doors opened. A woman stood there, maybe mid-30s, brown coat, pale face. She didn't move. "Are you getting in?" Markus asked. She didn't answer. Then slowly she asked, "Does it still show only 12 floors for you?" Markus hesitated. "Yes." She nodded slowly like she feared that answer. Then she asked, "Do you ever hear it stop above 12? Markus felt uncomfortable. "No." She relaxed slightly. "Good. Then you still have time." "Time for what?" he asked. But she stepped back, and the doors closed before she answered. The elevator continued to 8. When Markus looked back down the shaft display as it closed, he noticed something impossible. The panel on floor 4 showed 13 for just a fraction of a second. The next day, he tried to find her. No apartment name matched her description. No one had seen her. The landlord claimed no one fitting that description lived there. Markus started using the stairs again, but avoidance doesn't work forever when something begins to notice you. One night, he came home extremely exhausted. After a 16-hour system failure emergency, he didn't even think. He just pressed the elevator button out of habit. It opened immediately. That immediate response always turned out later to be a bad sign. Inside, everything looked normal, except the mirror. There were more reflections than there should be. Markus saw himself. Then slightly behind him, he saw himself again. Same clothes, same posture. But the second reflection blinked later than he did. Markus turned around. Nobody there. He looked back. Only one reflection now. He laughed nervously. Sleep deprivation? Then the elevator spoke, not through speakers, through vibration, through the metal itself. A voice formed from mechanical resonance, like words made of pressure. You use us often. Markus froze. The floor display showed 6, though he had pressed 8. Elevators don't talk, Markus whispered. The vibration answered, neither do buildings, until they do. The elevator stopped between floors. Complete stop. No movement, no hum, just dead suspension. Then came a new sound, scratching. From above the ceiling panel, slow dragging like fingernails testing surfaces. Then a soft thud, like something dropping onto the roof of the cabin. Dust fell from the ceiling seam. Markus backed into the corner. The emergency light turned on by itself, though power hadn't failed. Then fingerprints pressed downward into the thin metal ceiling from above, dozens, slowly deforming the surface like soft foil, something crawling, mapping the space. Then one dent formed directly above Markus, pressing, testing. Markus slid away. The dent followed, always above him, like it could feel heat or fear. Then suddenly the elevator dropped 0.5 meter. Markus hit the wall. The dents vanished. The elevator resumed upward normally. When the doors opened at 8, Markus ran out and didn't sleep that night. The next morning, he noticed something new, a faint rectangular outline on the button panel, like something had once been there and been removed. That afternoon, he saw a maintenance worker opening the control panel. Markus asked casually, "Was there ever a basement level?" The worker stopped moving. Very slowly he asked, "How long have you lived here?" "A month." The worker nodded. "Then it hasn't asked you yet." "What?" The worker closed the panel. "If it asks, say no." "If what asks?" But the worker had already left. That night, Markus began hearing the elevator, even when he wasn't using it. 1:58 a.m. Movement. 2.03 a.m. Movement. 2.17 now a.m. Always 2.17. Always a stop on his floor. Always 3 seconds of open doors. One night, he forced himself to look through his peephole. The elevator doors were open. The inside light was off. But something darker than darkness filled the cabin, like depth instead of shadow. Then a shape moved forward slightly, not stepping out, just checking distance. Then it retreated. Doors closed. 2 nights later came the knocking, not on his door, from inside his walls. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks, pause, then from the floor beneath his bed, then from the ceiling above his head, mapping him in 3 dimensions, like confirming location. Markus started sleeping with lights on. Then came the worst discovery. One evening he checked old building forums online. Buried in a 9-year-old thread, he found a comment. "If the elevator ever learns your name, move immediately." Another reply asked what that meant. The answer, "You'll see it where the floor number should be." Markus stopped breathing as he read that, because 2 nights earlier, when the doors had briefly opened at his floor without him calling it, he thought he saw letters instead of numbers. He told himself it was imagination, until the night he was too slow reaching the stairs, until the night the doors opened before he could turn away, until the night he saw the display clearly. Not 8, not numbers, just one word, Markus, and beneath it, a new button softly glowing. The elevator that memorizes you. Part 2, the floor that knows your name. Markus did not press the new button. He stood frozen inside the elevator, finger hovering in the air while the soft glow of the button labeled Markus pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. The cabin felt warmer than usual. Not comfortable warm, body warm, like too many people had been inside recently. The air smelled faintly metallic, like coins held too long in sweaty hands. The display above the door no longer showed a floor number. It simply repeated his name. Markus. Pause. Markus. Pause. Markus. The rhythm felt deliberate, like breathing. Markus slowly moved his hand back. No, he whispered, remembering the maintenance worker. If it asks, say no. The elevator responded instantly, not with sound, with motion. The cabin gave a tiny downward jerk, like disappointment. Then the button light dimmed slightly. Markus pressed 8 with shaking hands. For a second, nothing happened. Then the doors closed. The elevator began rising, but too slowly, much slower than normal, like it was thinking. Halfway up, the display changed again. Not to numbers, to words. You saw it. Markus stopped breathing. The letters flickered. Others pressed. Then, you will press. No, Markus said louder. The elevator stopped. Complete silence filled the cabin. Then something new happened. The mirror did not show Markus anymore. It showed the elevator empty. Markus turned around violently. He was still there, but not in the reflection. Then slowly, from the top of the mirror image, something lowered into view. A face. His face, but wrong. Skin slightly gray. Smile slightly too large. Eyes completely black. Reflection. Markus placed its hand against the mirror from inside. Real Markus stumbled backward. Reflection. Markus mouthed words with no sound. Markus read the lips. You already did. Then the reflection suddenly copied him again normally, like nothing happened. The elevator resumed movement. Doors opened at 8. Markus ran out again. That night he began packing. Not everything, just essentials. Laptop, documents, clothes. He told himself he would leave in the morning. That was the plan. But at 2:17 a.m. the elevator arrived again. Ding! He heard it clearly through the door. Then something new. A soft electronic chime like a notification. His phone lit up on the table. Unknown notification. No app name. Just text. Elevator. Ready. Markus dropped the phone. It lit again. Destination available. Then another. You delayed last time he turned the phone off. It turned itself back on. One final message appeared. We can come closer. The elevator arrived again. This time he heard slow footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, dragging slightly, then stopping at his door. No knock. Just presence. Then a sound he would never forget. The sound of someone breathing directly against the other side of his door. Not aggressive, just waiting. Patient. Like a nurse waiting for a patient to wake up. Then his own voice from outside. Perfect imitation. Markus, you forgot to finish the ride. Silence. Then quieter. We saved your floor. Markus didn't move. After 2 minutes, the footsteps left. At 2:26, the elevator descended. At 2:31, it returned. At 2:38 again, like checking if he changed his mind. Markus didn't sleep. At 6 a.m., he left, using the stairs. On the ground floor, he saw something that removed all doubt he was dealing with something impossible. The elevator floor indicator in the lobby listed residents instead of floors. 0, Lobby 1, Schneider, 2, Vogel, 3, Hartmann, 4, Weiss, 5, Klein, 6, Baumann, 7, Richter, 8, Markus. Beneath, that was an empty slot. Flickering, waiting, as he watched new letters slowly formed. 9, available. Markus left the building that morning. he moved into a temporary hotel across the city. He thought distance would end it. For 3 nights, nothing happened. On the 4th night, he returned to his hotel at 2:12 a.m. He pressed the elevator. When it opened, his blood went cold. Same interior, same mirror, same panel scratch, same black button. Even the small burn mark near the alarm switch. "No," he whispered. A couple entered behind him impatiently. "Are you getting in or not?" Markus stepped back. The couple entered. Doors closed. The man pressed 5. Markus watched the display. 5 lit. Then beneath it, very briefly, another label appeared. Markus. The elevator went up. Markus took the stairs. The next day, he checked out and moved again. This time to another district, then another town. For 2 weeks, he only used stairs everywhere. Malls, offices, parking garages. He became obsessive, counting floors, avoiding lifts. Until one day at work, his manager said, "Server room is on 11. Stairs are locked. Take the elevator." Markus refused. Manager insisted. Markus eventually gave in. He told himself, different building, different system, different elevator. He pressed the button. Doors opened. Inside was completely normal. Stainless steel. No mirror. New panel. He relaxed slightly. Pressed 11. Doors closed. The elevator moved, then stopped at 2. Doors opened. Nobody there. But he heard a familiar vibration through the walls. The same mechanical voice. "Found you!" Markus began screaming for help. The alarm button did nothing. The display changed slowly. 11 faded. Letters replaced it. "Welcome back," then. Beneath it, a second line appeared. "Continue?" And the button panel now had only one option. His name, Markus. And this time, the button was already pressed.